Today we are still in our place value unit. We'll still be there for a little while, but we've got to keep adding new material and learning new things in this unit. Our learning target for today is I can use decimals to describe amounts of money. We have a couple picture vocabulary slides that we're going to go over first this time. So just as a reminder, place value. It's the value of a digit based on its location in a number. If you hear me say the word digit a lot, referring to a specific digit, we're talking to that actual numbers or digit 0 through 9 that's in a specific spot. We've talked about expanded notation before. It's an expression showing the specific place value of each digit by multiplying each digit by that place value. So for example, in this number, 294, 2 is in the hundreds place, so we're multiplying 2, the digit 2, times 100, that place value spot it's in. We add that to the 9 in the tens place times 10, because it's in the tens place, followed by 4. 4 times 1, because it's in the ones place. You'll hear me mention models a lot in the rest of our unit here. It's just a representation of something. The example in this picture is 5 times 4 equals 20. It's showing 5 blocks high here by 4 blocks wide. Multiply that, we've got 20 blocks total. And represent, just to show something in some way. There's lots of different ways to represent numbers, especially in the rest of our unit. So tenth is something we talked about yesterday. A tenth is our first decimal place. First place value after a decimal point. Can also refer to a fraction, 1/10, 1 out of 10. Or you can see that decimal number right there, 0.1. That's 1/10. We're talking about this 1 shaded in out of the 10 pieces total to make 1, or 1 whole. Same for hundredths. If we're looking at a hundreds grid, we've got 100 little squares, only 1 is shaded in, so that's 1 out of 100 as a fraction. Or as a decimal, 0.01. We've got to make sure that 1 is in the hundredths place, not the tenths place. So let's talk about decimals as money. Here we have a small place value chart. I've got 0.25. That 2 is in the tenths place, 5 is in the hundredths place. And decimals can also represent amounts of money, right? If you've ever seen a price tag at a store, it's usually written like this. You'll see an amount of dollars, if it's that expensive, a decimal point, and how much cents they're charging you to. So a quarter, that picture right there, is worth 25 cents and is normally written in decimal form as 0.25 to represent that 25 cents. But as a decimal, you could also say that's 25 hundredths, right? I've got a 2 in the tenths place, 5 in the hundredths, that's 25 hundredths. On this slide, we've got another number in our place value chart. I've got 25 and 63 hundredths. Remember the example above from yesterday? It's the same number we use. We can relate that number to money also. Notice the larger bills below. I've got a 20 and a 5. That's because we also have a whole number here, right? 25. We could refer to money, $25, or just 25 whole, 25 in general. Then we have some change, right? So here's my decimal point, and then my tenths and hundredths, 63 cents or 63 hundredths, represented by the coins. 2 quarters, 50 cents, a dime, 10 cents, plus 3 pennies, 3 single cents, 63 cents. How about this one? I've got 28 hundredths. I also left that model from yesterday too. You can see on the hundreds grid, I've got 28 out of the 100 shaded in, or 28 hundredths. So this is another example of relating decimals to money too, though. Remember, decimals are part of one whole. If we only have numbers in the tenths and hundredths place, but nothing in the ones, tens, hundreds, etc., we don't have a whole number yet. We've just got part of a whole number, or part of one. So that's why there are no whole numbers on the chart above. We only have 28 cents pictured here, right? There's a quarter and 3 pennies. On this slide, please remember these examples from yesterday too. We used all 3 of these. Let's represent all of them using money this time. We already know that this one here, the bright orange one, is 7/10, or you could even say 70 hundredths if there was a 0 after that, but the best way to write that would be 7/10. In money, in change here, I've got 2 quarters and 2 dimes, right? 50 cents plus 10 equals 70 cents. How about this middle one? Same example as the previous slide, 28 hundredths or 28 cents. Here's a quarter, 25, 26, 27, 28 cents. And in the last example, there's only 7 little boxes shaded in out of the 100, right? So that's 7 hundredths. Again, as a reminder, place value is important when writing these decimals. That 7 has to go in the hundredths place, not the tenths place. So we have that placeholder 0 here for the tenths place, because there's nothing in the tenths. We don't have a tenth yet. We only have 7 hundredths. There's not enough to make a tenth, which would be 10 of those, or 1 full column. That 7 cents as money is represented below in change. I've got a nickel, which is 5 cents, and 2 pennies. So 7 cents. And does this seem like all too much info at once? If you're not familiar with this, it can seem a little overwhelming. Let's focus on just one more example. I've got some money on screen here. We have a $5 bill, we have a quarter, there's a dime, a nickel, and a penny. Together, that is $5.41. So $5.41 as an amount of money. Same numbers as a decimal, right? 5 decimal point 41, or 5 and 41 hundredths if you are referring to just the numbers and decimals.